Hello, Captains. I'm your host, Maya, and this is your weekly roundup on all things Star Trek news, the show where we warp through the latest headlines from across the galaxy. Every week, I compile the biggest Star Trek stories, some you've already seen on the main channel, and some that are exclusive to this weekly roundup. From shows to comics, merch to game updates. If it's Star Trek, it's here. And this week, it's a wild one. Some good, some bad, and some, expected. So let's dive in. And remember, you can follow along or join the convo with the hashtag CTSC News. Big scoop from Trek Central. A brand new Star Trek series is reportedly in development. But this one is not for us, seasoned cadets. Introducing Star Trek Starfleet Scouts, an animated digital short-form series designed specifically for younger audiences. Think Lower Deck or Prodigy, but this one is strictly for the 8 to 9-year-old crowd. The series will focus on 3 friends attending school on a future Earth, training to become Starfleet explorers. And instead of streaming on Paramount+, these shorts will drop directly on YouTube. This move seems like an attempt to get kids into Trek early, similar how Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures launched on YouTube and eventually expanded into full-length seasons. Paramount Plus seems to be pivoting fast. Casting is already underway, and rumor has it that an official announcement could arrive as soon as San Diego Comic-Con this July. And now, we throw another kitchen sink at the wall. Look, as I have said many times, just yesterday the video came out where I was complaining about Star Trek. Star Trek doesn't need hyper-segmented content to find a new audience. Just make a great Star Trek series that the whole family can enjoy. If it's well written, new fans will come, no matter their age. We just canceled Prodigy, and now we're back at it with this? It's like no lessons were learned. This franchise isn't just for adults. It never was. So stop treating every age group like it needs its own separate warp core. Just give us a solid Trek. Original Trek. Trek that inspires. Here we go again. Starfleet Academy is officially set to premiere on Paramount Plus in 2026. While not exactly the most celebrated news amongst fans, the show has already finished production on its first season and a second season is already confirmed. The series follows a new generation of Starfleet cadets as they navigate the pressures of training, forge friendships and rivalries, and face a mysterious threat that could shake both the Academy and the Federation. Amongst many cast members, Holly Hunter plays the Academy's Chancellor and Captain, leading the next wave of recruits. There are some familiar names too, like Tig Notaro and Robert Picardo, who will be reprising their roles, and Paul Giamatti steps in as the show's main villain, described as a shadowy figure from the past with a personal vendetta. Produced by Paramount Plus and helmed by Alex Kurtzman and Noga Landau, the series aims to offer a mix of emotional growth and high-stakes adventure. So expect the first teaser to debut in Comic-Con or some kind of a similar event. Now, let's be honest, this isn't the show most Star Trek fans were asking for. The general reaction so far has been, let's say, lukewarm. at best. Many had hoped for legacy or another return to the roots of the franchise. But as every Star Trek fan knows, hope springs eternal. We've been surprised before. Lower Decks, Prodigy, yeah, they're all animations, but let's pretend. Even parts of Strange New Worlds caught many off guard in the best way. So, while expectations might be low, here's hoping Starfleet Academy proves us wrong and brings something meaningful to the Trek canon. So, are you giving Starfleet Academy a chance, or is this one already on your skip list? Let's talk expectations in the comments. This week, Star Trek's future on television was thrown into doubt. According to an exclusive from Tachyon Pulse podcast, thanks Jay for this wonderful news, Paramount is actively re-evaluating its contract with Secret Hideout, the production company behind every Star Trek show since 2017, I think. The result? We may be seeing the end of new Star Trek TV as we know it, as early as 2027. Now, according to Tachyon Pulse podcast, starting May 2025, Paramount leadership began serious internal discussions about cutting back on Star Trek productions. Faced with soaring production costs and declining viewership, they're asking, is Star Trek still profitable? With Strange New Worlds filming its fifth and potentially final season, and Starfleet Academy being greenlit for only 2, we may be seeing a slow sunset of this Trek era. Now, instead of fan-demanded Star Trek legacy, here's what we got. We got Starfleet Academy, essentially 90210 in space, with little promise of actual star travel. We got ourselves a Section 31 movie that was released to zero fanfare and gone from streaming within a week. We got Star Trek Prodigy that was rescued by Netflix and then chucked aside by Netflix again. We got Lower Decks that was beloved by some but still a parody. We got short treks. Remember those? They were abandoned before they could reach their potential. We got multiple comedy-leaning pitches and a Young Jedi-style Trek for kids that all failed to resonate with longtime fans. It's no wonder the audience is split and losing faith. Look, I wish I could say this news is shocking, but let's be honest, it's been building since 2009. For years now, the stewards of New Trek have pushed this idea that to gain new viewers, you must antagonize the old ones. And surprise, surprise, to no one, it did not work. In an era of infinite options, no one is going to stick with a franchise that tells them they're outdated, irrelevant, or worse, dying. I'm 46. I'm not ancient. But the way these shows talk about legacy fans, you'd think we were fossils. This idea that every generation needs its own Trek is short-sighted. There was once one Star Trek, and it brought people of all ages together. But instead of building on that legacy, we watched Kurtzman and company throw it out and try to reinvent Trek into what exactly? The one project that finally united this fractured fan base, Star Trek Legacy, was shelved. Of course it was. Instead, we got pitch decks turned into spin-offs, ideas that felt more like branding exercises than passion projects. Starfleet Academy could work, sure, but no one asked for it. Section 31 could have been thrilling 5 years ago, but now it's a streaming afterthought. What we're witnessing is the end result of arrogance. Trek didn't lose fans because of time or tech. It lost fans because it forgot what it stood for. Explorers, diplomats, scientists, people with vision, people with hope. And somewhere between all the multiverse logics, F-bombs, and pointless nostalgia cameos, the soul of Star Trek got lost. What they never seem to grasp is that when you mess with Star Trek, you're not just tinkering with plots or warp drives. You're messing with memories. Ask any fan, any so-called aging viewer, and then they'll tell you the moment that Trek hooked them. Who they were with, what it meant. Sometimes those people are gone, and those memories are sacred. You can't fight that. You can't override it with lens flares or edgy teen angst. We didn't need nostalgia. We didn't need a dozen shows for every mood. We didn't need $100 million budgets and hyper-cinematic space battles. We just needed one good Star Trek show. A solid sci-fi series with a hopeful outlook, real science fiction ideas, and smart storytelling. That's it. So, no, I'm not surprised this era might be ending. But I am hopeful that with the right leadership, Star Trek can boldly go again. But only if someone at Paramount finally starts taking Trek and its fans seriously. What do you think? Should Paramount, God forbids, renew the secret hideout contract? Or it's time for new hands at the helm? Let me know in the comments. I'm really interested to hear your opinion about this whole kerfuffle. So captains, this week we were treated to a treasure trove of Star Trek books on sale for just $10 each, courtesy of Another Universe. Let's dive into this collection of must-have for any Trek fan's library. Each of these is packed with stories behind the scenes or deep dives into the Trek lore. Here's what you can pick up. Star Trek 50 Years of Star Trek, a celebration from Titan Comics of the franchise's 50-year legacy. This book is packed with archive interviews from William Shatner to Chris Pine. It is a perfect retrospective for those wanting a broad look across the decades. Then we have Star Trek Villains, where we can dive into the darker side of Star Trek with profiles on iconic antagonists like the Borg Queen, Khan, Q, even Shinzon. Includes cast interviews and villain-focused features. We get Star Trek Explorer Presents Q and False and Other Stories. That's a collector's edition that features short stories about our crews facing iconic foes like Q and the Borg. It includes writing from James Swallow, Una McCormack, Lisa Klink, and more. We also get Star Trek The Short Story Collection, a 19-story illustrated anthology originally from Star Trek magazine. Includes tales featuring Data, Tuvok, and Scotty, plus enemies like Klingons and Jem'Hadar. Bonus, some stories connect to Star Trek Online. Star Trek Picard, we have the classic Chronicles, a deep behind-the-scenes dive into Jean-Luc Picard's journey, including interviews and rare imagery from the series and character legacy. We also get Star Trek Picard, the official collector's edition, behind the scenes of Star Trek Picard with interviews from Patrick Stewart, Marina Sirtis, Brent Spiner, Michelle Hurd, and more. includes insights from showrunners like Michael Chabon. We also get Star Trek Genesis Trilogy Anniversary Special. It covers the Wrath of Khan, The Search for Spock, and The Voyage Home, with rare photos, interviews, and retrospectives. Pure nostalgia fuel. We also get Star Trek Explorer, The Mission and Other Stories, a 14-story anthology from Star Trek Explorer magazine featuring Riker, Sisko, Pulaski, and Archer, with Borg appearances and stories by Una McCormack, Greg Cox, and others. Now, we're not done yet. We have Star Trek The Illustrated Oral History, the original cast. This richly illustrated volume dives into the original Star Trek series and movies, with a first-hand accounts from the original cast and creators. A true historical record from the people who built Trek. We also get Star Trek Explorer, a year to the day that I saw myself die on and other stories. A 14-story illustrated anthology that spans almost all major Trek series and even includes a tale written by Chekhov himself, a wide-ranging entry point into Trek storytelling. And finally, we also get Star Trek Discovery Guide to Seasons 1 and 2 Collector's Edition. It was published by Titan Comics. This collector guide goes behind the scenes of Discovery with interviews from Sonika Martin Green, Michelle Yeoh, Doug Jones, Anson Mount, and more. You can find the sale now on Another Universe's website. I couldn't find anywhere how long it's going to last. So if you were interested in any of these books, act fast. So, Captains, this week we are treated to a preview of what's coming next in the world of Star Trek comics. IDW Publishing is launching 2 new limited series this summer, Star Trek Red Shirts and Star Trek Strange New Worlds, The Seed of Destruction. Both comics are set to follow the conclusion of Star Trek Omega. Let's start with Star Trek Red Shirts, written by Christopher Cantwell and illustrated by Megan Levens. This series dives into a tragic yet oddly humorous world of Starfleet's most expendable crew members, the infamous Red Shirts. It's being described as a story in the key of death, paying tribute to the countless anonymous officers who've been vaporized, exploded, or otherwise met unfortunate ends. Cantwell aims to give them their due with some intense and grim storytelling, while Lemons gets creative freedom to design new Starfleet officers, just to kill them off in spectacular ways. Then there's Star Trek Strange New Worlds, The Seeds of the Destruction, written by Robbie Thompson and drawn by Travis Mercer. This story reunites us with Strange New World characters like Chappelle, Una, La'an, and Spock. Plus a new robotic companion named D6. They'll face cosmic horrors and a frozen world. Think cold, dark, and creepy. Thompson, who also writes the show's 4th season, promises an expansion of the Strange New Worlds universe with a horror twist. The editor at the IDW teases that both of these comics will bring bold, introspective, and darker perspectives to the Star Trek universe. And don't forget, Voyager Homecoming is still on the horizon too. So, Captains, which of these stories are you most curious about? The doomed crew of the Red Shirts, or the horror-infused Strange New Worlds tale? Or maybe neither. Now, let's talk about some lore war. Warning, this segment is definitely going to include some spoilers. So, if you don't want to hear anything or risk any spoilers before you get your hands on Star Trek Defiant issue 27, please skip forward. The lore war continues in Star Trek Defiant issue 27, and things are looking grim for our heroes. In this intense penultimate chapter, Benjamin Sisko is pushed to the edge, questioning not just his role in the conflict, but his very purpose. With lore now effectively a god, reality itself bends to its will, and the resistance is nearly broken. Just as Sisko considers stepping down, he's visited by a mysterious blue light, a sign that reignites his hope. This issue features some powerful emotional dilemmas, like characters facing the impossible choices or risk ceasing to exist. The review from getyourcomicson.co.uk highlights some of the standout elements. Christopher Cantwell's storytelling is top tier, balancing exposition with emotional weight. The synergy with co-writers Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing keeps the arc feeling tight. David Tinto, Lee Longridge, and Clayton Coles delivered consistent visuals that enhance the mood and action. And yes, there's a bit of body horror as Lore twists crew members into tools of his will. Each issue has ratcheted up the tension since issue 24, and 27 delivers the perfect setup for a massive finale. So, are you caught up on the Lore War arc? What do you think Sisko's vision means for the final issue? So, Captains, this week the Galaxy went to Red Alert in Star Trek Online, and here's what you need to know. The Red Alert event is back on PC and runs from May 20th to June 3rd. That means all of the Red Alert queues like Borg, Elachi, Tholian, Zenketti, and Nakul are active. So how it works? You play any Red Alert once per day to earn daily progress. After 10 days, you unlock one ultimate tech upgrade, one specialization point, and one experimental ship upgrade token. On top of that, additional Red Alert runs will earn you increasing amounts of dilithium ore, so it's a good time to farm. Now, important tip is to beware of the Zenketti Red Alert. It has a fail condition, so only successful runs will count toward your daily progress. Captains level 50 and above are eligible to participate. And if you're in a rush, you can also purchase the grand prize from the event interface. The cost will go down the more progress you make. So, get out there and defend the galaxy, Captains. So, Captains, this week we were treated to a big legendary sale in Star Trek Online. From May 23rd to May 27th, on PC players can save 35% on legendary items including ships, bundles, and more. This sale includes legendary ship bundles, individual legendary ships, and other legendary content that rarely goes on discount. So, if you've been eyeing something powerful or iconic, this might be the best time to grab it. Legendary ships usually come with account-wide unlocks, console combos, and often some serious aesthetic appeal. So, this is a perfect opportunity to bolster your fleet. Whether you're a long-time captain or just starting your journey, these items can give your gameplay a major boost. So, which legendary ship or bundle are you most excited to pick up during the sale? Or, if you're skipping this one, what would it take for you to dive into the next sale? Let me know in the comments. So, Captains, Another great opportunity just went live for PC players in Star Trek Online. From May 23rd to May 27th, it's the Bonus Marks event. That means 50% boost or 1.5 the usual amount on fleet and reputation marks for all qualifying contact. Every mission that normally gives marks will now reward you with even more. So it's a fantastic time to advance your fleet holdings, push your reputation progress, or stockpile marks for future projects. Do you know what you will be focusing on this weekend? Is it going to be fleet upgrades or reputation unlocks? Have you found any efficient mark farming runs you'd recommend? So, Captains, this week console players are getting some love. Star Trek Online is running an upgrade event for Xbox and PlayStation from May 23rd to May 27th. During this event, every tech upgrade you apply will yield double the technology points, making it much easier and much more cost-effective to boost your gear. What does it mean in plain terms? You'll need less dilithium to reach those higher mark and rarity levels, which is a huge bonus for players trying to fine-tune their builds. Whether you're looking to give your ship that final edge in combat, or you're upgrading your favorite ground gear, now it's time to do it. So, will you be diving into this console upgrade event? What's the one piece of gear you're most excited to max out? Let me know in the comments, guys. Let's talk about it. So, Captains, this week we were treated to a flash sale in Star Trek Online on PC. From May 17th to May 19th, players had a chance to snag 25% off Master Keys and the Keyring bundle, which included 20 keys and an Ultimate Tech upgrade. But that wasn't all. May has been stacked with promotions. Bonus N, 20% extra on all Zen purchases, discounts on upgrade points and bundles, dilithium bonuses, experience boosts to help level fast. And let's not forget, the Delta Recruit and Temporal Recruit events kicked off on May 13th, giving players a perfect reason to start a new tune and earn those sweet account-wide rewards. But if you missed the flash sale, don't worry, more events and bonuses are likely just around the corner. But for now, the temporal window has closed. Until next time. That wraps up this week's All Things Star Trek news. I'll be back next Sunday with more updates from across the final frontier. Until then, stay curious like you, stay honorable like Klingons, stay practical like Vulcans, and never forget to look at the stars and imagine all the possibilities. See you next week, Captains. Have a good one.